What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the N54 project. Today we're going to be installing a VRSF charge pipe as well as a Tial blow-off valve to get those turbo noises happening. Let's get into it. So we've been pretty excited to move on to the performance mods for quite a while now, and we're finally here. So without further ado, this is our VRSF charge pipe. You can have a look here. We've got the Tial flange here. It's aluminium steel, I believe, coated in a nice black, as well as we've got the Tial blow-off valve. So this is the one that's going to be making those nice blow-off sounds. Currently I've just got the stock diverter valve unplugged to give a bit more noise, but I'm not really liking the sound, and I do think there's a bit of boost leak from it, so that is the main reason to be doing this. So in addition to the charge pipe and the blow-off valve, it has come with all of the supporting parts. We've got the silicone and hoses here to connect all the parts together. We've got all of the clips and connectors to make sure nothing leaks. So a couple little other more bits and pieces, but more importantly, being the Tial blow-off valve, you have to buy a supporting adapter. I believe I got this one from BMS in America. Basically, the rubber cord that connects between the regular stock blow-off valve and the connector inside of the car is thinner. To get the full potential of the Tial blow-off valve, you've got to go thicker. So just make sure you get this adapter. I'll link it in the description. So on to why you would want to make this upgrade. Mostly for sound. The N54, I believe, has perfectly fine charge pipe, unlike the N55. N55 is known to actually blow and crack, which is actually very important to replace. In regards to the N54, I've been told it is much more stable and solid. Some people prefer it, but you don't have those nice turbo sounds, turbo blow-off sounds. So I've opted for the VRSF charge pipe to add in the Tial blow-off valve. So we will be doing the install very shortly, so let's check it out. Okay, so first step is to remove the cowl filter just to get things out of the way. I believe it is 8 bolts. Don't forget the clip over here. Done, finally. As you can see, obviously I don't have the stock airbox. I have the dual cone filters. If you've got the stock airbox, you probably got a snorkel coming through here into the stock airbox, so you will have to remove that. My next steps, we've got to remove these dual cone intakes, and then we can access the charge pipe, which is here. Okay, so now that we've got that done, we have a bit more of a direct access to the diverter valves. So you can see mine is not plugged into this section here, and this one at the back is actually also loose. The previous owner did this to get a bit more noise, to have a fake blow-off valve sound, basically. I'm not into that, so that's why we're doing this modification. So next steps, remove the current diverter valves, take them off, then remove the charge pipe and go from there. So you're just going to wriggle this back cord off the knob, but just be careful, as I believe it's made of plastic and is a little bit sensitive, a bit brittle. So just going to use a Stanley knife to cut off the thread as it's caught, and voila. Diverter valves removed. So what we were doing in there is this part was sealed around the knob. Just had to cut down the edge because we're not going to be reusing this. So next we're going to just take off this C-clip. We're going to be reusing this, so I'm going to take it off entirely. There's also a couple other points that this clipped in, so I think it's a T20, a little bigger, T25 maybe. And we've got another V-band clip down here. So the other part you just need to be conscious of is the airflow. I'm not sure the name of this clip at the back, but the sensor. Hey guys, so we're back upstairs. Unfortunately, my camera memory card filled up and we did not capture the end of me taking out the charge pipe, but I'll give us a little bit of a recap. So basically took off the cowl, that was 8 screws, then we had to unclip a couple parts, dived in there and took off the charge pipe through unhooking the individual diverter valves, then a couple of screws, unhooking the C clip, and then the most important part that might not have been captured on camera was the unhooking of it's like the MAF sensor, RF sensor, something like that. Has this little clip at the back, so you need to unhook that before you can pull out the actual charge pipe. So one thing to note that really freaked me out was that the charge pipe has a bunch of oil inside. I've done quite a bit of research now and supposedly that's quite normal. My hands did get pretty destroyed. I've washed them several times and they're still dirty as, but you know, this is part of the life. So now our next steps, come back upstairs, just thought it would be easier to assemble the charge pipe and the blow-off valve, as they need to be stuck together and there's a couple little bits and pieces, so we're going to get into that now. So this is pretty much what we've got to work with. We've got the charge pipe, the tail blow-off valve, the nipple that comes with the blow-off valve. This is the sensor from the old charge pipe, so you need to keep that. This is the gasket, I think that's what they called, rubber seal for the blow-off valve, the clip for the blow-off valve. These are the new screws that come with the charge pipe. They're to go into this part here. And then I've got my tools. So we need to have a 10mm socket. I've got 2 different sized Allen keys, so just get a set. And then we've got a T20 as well. So let's jump into it. First step, let's get the charge pipe. So we need to get this rubber little gasket thing, put that around the edge. So if you can just see here, you need to just sort of wrap it around this edge to help form a seal between the charge pipe and the blow-off valve. Next, we need to add on the actual blow-off valve. And then this next part is a little tricky. Oops. We need to unscrew the, I think these are C-clips, but basically you need to unscrew this so you can actually open it. It's in a couple pieces, so it may fall apart slightly. So you've got the individual middle screw, and then these 2 little parts that drop out, so that's fine to let down. The tricky part is just getting it around, because it just feels unnatural to stretch them, but basically I think that's what you're meant to do. So chuck it on, line it up, and then just need to sort of get this around the edge. Okay, so we've got that in position, but it's super easy for it to come off. So what we need to do is just hold it there, get one of these little parts through so we can thread the next screw bolt thing through, get this one, same angle, and then just give it a turn. Okay, we've got it. Let's put it that way. Straighten it up, make it neat for if you ever need to do anything with this again. So tighten up, use the Allen key, Okay, seems good. Next piece, whilst we're here, we're not going to be using any of these meth ports, so just they're naturally hand tightened, so just make sure to really tighten them up so we don't get any boost leaks. Same on this side. Cool, it's looking good, looking nice. Now let's add on the nipple. So you need this to be pointing away from the blow-off valve. Look at my 10mm here. So as you can see, we've got this pointing the direction of the pipe, because that's where the cord comes from. So next, again, keeping the angles correct, we need our MAP sensor, MF sensor, TF sensor, I can't remember the name of this. Just insert that. And then, as I said, you just use the screws they have provided. Cool. This is the end result. So the only other thing to keep in mind is we need to reuse this little gasket rubber seal from the old charge pipe. So you can see inside there's just this little slot that fits in nicely. And then we've got the C-clip that we will use as well. So that'll do us. Now we're ready to go jump back on the car. Okay, so we're back in the basement. We've just put together the charge pipe. Now it's time to add in the boost vacuum adapter that I bought from BMS. Link will be in the description. Basically, it is this little tiny adapter that allows for this thicker vacuum cord to go on. Comes with a couple of little other parts, but basically I've installed a plug on one hole and the nipple on the other. The only other real thing to note is the nipple cover for the old smaller nipple. We'll be adding that on, if you can see that here. Excuse my dirty fingers. So we'll get into that now. Okay, so where does this part actually go? So the adapter goes in just behind the opening. So if you see that sort of bronze part down there, we're going to be taking off that cord and basically adding that in. Sorry about the focus, it's really hard to do. So if you see down there, and then just next to it, you should see that little nipple on the left. That's the one we need to cover up. All right, so it's done. You can see down there the little nipple with the bronze sort of ring around it. That bronze ring is extremely difficult to get on, and took a lot of effort. Had to get my gloves on because it was destroying my hands, but it's fine. But then the cord that actually plugs into it, where it's clipped into place, it can't actually reach the new point, so you just need to unclip it at the back. I thought I broke something, but it just was unclipping, so give that a go. So from here on out, hoping it's relatively easy, we're finally getting on to placing the actual charge pipe in. So, hard to see, but so we've got the charge pipe here, the intercooler pipe here. Over there is relatively lined up. I'm going to try and line that up, clip it in, and then go for the silicone. Let's see how we go. Okay, so after a bit of wiggling, wriggling, grunting and straining, we've got it on. I definitely recommend putting on this silicone first. As you can see here, we've got the C-clip on, locking into place. So all good. Just gotta connect up this little red clip at the back that we connected earlier. Obviously put the vacuum cord to the new adapter, you can see back there. Then reconnect everything, give it a test. Okay, so in an annoying sort of fashion, the hosing that they provide is just the tiniest bit too short. I assume they don't think you're going to be upgrading this nipple at the back, and they provide a connector to go to a smaller vacuum hose, but I didn't want that. I wanted the perfect hose, so what I've done is gone and bought some 1/4 inch hosing and given it a bit of extra length. So you just plug that into the nipple at the back, at the front, and then we zip tie around each, just as a fail-safe under those higher boost loads. So the next part that I've been told is quite difficult is putting these V-band clamps onto the silicone. I'm going to do this off camera as I know I'm going to struggle a ton. So back to you soon with tips. Okay, so we've got both the V-band clamps on. I've then continued and put everything else back on, which was a mission. This cowl was not much fun. But those V-band clips, my tip is just be careful of these other little cords that are underneath them. They can get included when you're trying to tighten, and that makes it not be able to close. But if you make sure that it is just the pipe, they close absolutely fine. I'm going to give it a test and then fingers crossed it's all working. So it looks like that was a success. So we'll take it for a test spin now, make sure there is no kinks, but seemed to rev fine and I'm happy with the result. All that pain and effort was worth it. Okay, so we're back. It's the next day now, taking it for a test spin. I took it for a quick drive yesterday whilst it was a bit darker, and it seems to drive like a dream. I'm really happy with the result. It also seems to hold boost a lot better than previously. So as you saw, I had my diverter valves disconnected by the previous owner, and it just was a messy setup. I wasn't impressed, and this seems to have fixed all the issues plus improved the sound dramatically. So let's find somewhere where we can give the sound a little bit of a go. Okay, so as you would have just seen there, I've had some nice turbo blow-off valve sounds coming out of the car, coming out of the turbo. I'm very happy with the installation. That being said, it was bloody hard. So the adapter valve, getting that little bronze bit on was extremely difficult. Also the V-clamps, they were quite difficult, as well as just the sort of shock, I guess, of seeing the oil in the charge pipe. That really freaked me out. So a lot of little bits, learning lessons. I definitely think I'm a better mechanic as such after doing this, but I would recommend giving yourself at least 2 days to do this, so you just don't have any panics or need to use the car in a quick turnaround time. As always, big thanks to everyone who's watched. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. It really helps the channel. We've got a couple more videos coming up in the near future. We've got the front mounted cooler, and we've got some MHD videos coming up. Then who knows? The world is our oyster as such, so let's see where this goes. Big thanks, and keep watching. Cheers.